Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I hope that this video finds you well. We are finally getting to the bottom of who was wielding and using the Joe Biden AUTOPEN, who was passing legislation, who was passing laws, who gave all of those preemptive pardons to Dr. Fauci, the entire Biden crime family, to General Milley, to the unselect J6 committee. Ladies and gentlemen, it was more than one person. And it's not even the people that we thought. It is actually shocking. When I watched all the footage that they just released and that we have, and what Trump's administration is revealing, I was genuinely shocked, and you will be too. Do me a huge favor, ladies and gentlemen. Before we get into the story, smash that thumbs up, subscribe, leave me a comment. Where are you tuning in from today? And before we continue, ladies and gentlemen, today's sponsor is Verity Metals. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a Patriot family faith-based gold, silver, and precious metals IRA firm. They protect your money through constitutional, physical gold and silver. Call or text 480-717-9081. Tell them that Vlad sent you. Get free silver on your next order. Grab your coin, grab your roll. This is the best way to protect your finances. Links are down below in the description. Thank you. Let's get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. This video is gonna shock everything that we know. We're jumping onto Twitter. There's actually two people that we know now for sure who used the AUTOPEN. So President Trump's border czar, David Sachs, has just exposed Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas, as one of Biden's AUTOPEN people. Listen to this.
This is the financial system of the future, Jesse, and we have to encourage it. What the Biden administration was doing, and let's face it, it wasn't Biden. Elizabeth Warren controlled the AUTOPEN during that administration. She, for some reason, has this pathological hatred of the crypto community. She wants to drive this community offshore. She doesn't want it happening in the United States. That's the wrong policy for the United States. We want all the innovation happening here. This is a financial system of the future. It's cheaper. It's more efficient. We want it happening here, Jesse, and I think people are thrilled that President Trump is making that possible. This is the financial system of the future, Jesse, and we have to
now
administration.
Check this out.
She, for some reason, has this pathological.
Hear that? That's person number one. And here's a video from Project Veritas.
Yeah.
This is undercover footage.
Off the record, of course. Foundational question for me is like, how corrupt is the DNC if so many people knew, or few people knew about Biden? Well, the president of the United States.
I mean, I think the fact of the matter is the DNC is always going to be like a campaign arm of the president, ultimately. The bigger issue is like...
You guys know who David Hogg is, right? He's the new RNC vice chair, super anti-gun, super anti-Second Amendment. Dude is just a woke joke. And they asked him, this undercover journalist asks him to his face, how corrupt is the Democrat Party? And he doesn't even say it's not.
Foundational question for me is like, how corrupt is the DNC if so many people knew, or few people knew about Biden? Well, the president of the United States.
I mean, I think the fact of the matter is the DNC is always going to be like a campaign arm of the president, ultimately. The bigger issue is like the inner circle that was around Biden. That's it.
And I can't stress to you enough.
Like Joe Biden's chief of staff, like had an enormous amount of power.
Joe Biden?
Joe Biden's chief of staff.
That was like an open secret at the level. Like I would avoid him. Like he was scary.
Jill Biden, chief of staff. Listen to what he says again. He was secretly running the show, but it's an open secret.
That's it.
And I can't stress to you enough.
Like Joe Biden's chief of staff, like had an enormous amount of power.
Joe Biden?
Joe Biden's chief of staff.
That was like an open secret at the level. Like I would avoid him. Like he was scary.
What was his name?
Anthony Trump.
I've never seen him.
Exactly.
What do you mean?
He's like a shadowy, like Wizard of Oz type figure. That's what made him so like. And I knew how he looked, but I'm like, the general public wouldn't know how this man looked. But he wielded an enormous amount of power, and I can't stress to you how much power he had in the White House.
Imagine they are talking about the chief of staff. The other guy that's off to the side of the camera was actually somebody who worked in the Biden administration. Imagine talking about somebody that's not the president, that's not even the chief of staff of the president, but he's the chief of staff of the president's wife, the first lady. And they say, we were scared of him. He was running the show. It's a known secret that this dude was running the show. Do you want to know what I really think? If Jill Biden's chief of staff was really running the show, that means Jill Biden was actually running the show through her chief of staff. This is why there's all this footage and pictures of this meeting, international meeting that was supposed to happen. And it's not Joe Biden at the Resolute desk preparing for the meeting. It's Jill Biden. Let's watch the last 30 seconds.
That was like an open secret at the level. Like, I would avoid him. Like, he was scary.
What was his name?
Anthony Trump.
That's the
I've
guy
never
right
seen
there.
him.
Exactly.
What do you mean?
He's like a shadowy, like, Wizard of Oz type figure. That's what made him so, like, I knew how he looked, but I'm like, the general public wouldn't know how this man looked. But he wielded an enormous amount of power, and I can't stress to you how much power he had in the White House.
Hear that, ladies and gentlemen? So I believe it was Jill Biden. Pocahontas and Jill Biden are close friends. And I think the real person behind the AUTOPEN was Jill Biden through her chief of staff. Now, right now, Trump's, crypto czar says they are investigating everything. They're looking into everything. And as we all know, the DOJ, the FBI, they are all investigating the AUTOPEN scandal. Trump talks about it almost daily, about, this is the biggest scam in our nation's history. Easily the biggest scam on the American people and on the American public. But now, ladies and gentlemen, before we wrap the show up, we have a big warning to the Republicans. If the Republicans in Congress don't get their crap together, we are going to lose the House in 2026. That's not coming from me. That's coming from Rasmussen pollsters. And Rasmussen polls are the only ones who said Trump is going to win on election night. It's going to be a landslide. Let's roll the clip.
So this is the first time. I mean, where are we going from here? And Donald Trump has already suffered some pretty much everything that they could possibly throw at him, the kitchen sink. I mean, I don't want to I don't want to hope too much here, but it does seem like he's, there's a barrage of bad press, and it just isn't working anymore, Mark. So where's Trump headed? We're going to see 60% like right track?
This is like he did well on his freshman midterms, okay? And we still got a lot more of this administration to go, and the report card is good. But the problem is that the exams get harder, right? And so I think part of the reason we're seeing the numbers this high is that we got to summer without anything blowing up, and people tried to convince people that things were blowing up. They didn't. And what happens in summer usually is the numbers just kind of drift and everybody chills out. And I don't know, they'll probably swing all over the place. I think there will be some highs. I think they're going to try and hit Trump with everything they got coming out of August. They're probably going to try. They did this in 2022. They did it with the Dobbs decision, and this is what they did in August of 17. Also, the Russian collusion stuff was really sort of festering all summer, and then it was just wall-to-wall press coverage, and it really did draw some blood for Trump. Got his approval rating down into the high 30s, but he clawed it back out into the high 40s. I don't think they have anything like that, though. That's the problem. They've pretty much used everything they have available, and so I guess they only have the deep state is infinite in its creativity, so I guess we will see. But I also think the message is that things are good right now, but they have a chance to turn south. We just polled our first generic ballot of the cycle. It was only 1,000 likely voters. It's super far out, but the Democrats were up on. And that's new. We've had Republicans up in every single time, all the way going back to 22.
So going all the way back, he's saying to 2022, Republicans were always up at least a point. Just a couple weeks ago, they polled 1,000 likely voters in the midterm elections. The Democrats, when it comes to Congress, are up a point. And now he's going to tell us why.
And so this should be perceived to be a wake-up call to people who understand what voting for Congress means. Listen, Congress performed in the generic ballot pretty similarly to Trump in the fall. And if Trump's up 6 in approval right now and the Democrats are up 1 in the generic ballot, that's a message that Republicans are slipping. And so Donald Trump turns out low propensity voters to vote for him. He turns out Democrats and independents who cross over. And we saw those special elections, and we see what's happening in Congress and the Senate right now. And so, I mean, I can imagine they're trying to figure out, well, how do we do good in 2026? The answer is don't do what you're doing now. Donald Trump is a very non-traditional 2.0, Trump 2.0. This is a very unprecedented presidency. We are not seeing an unprecedented Congress right now.
So Congress could F it up.
Well, I think a lot of things could, right? I mean, World War III, economic black swan, or literally Congress not giving Trump the agenda that he got a mandate for. And voters said that too. I mean, we asked Donald Trump, I'll pull this up. We asked voters, I want to get the words exactly right. Is Congress delivering on the mandate that Trump, the country was given? 60% of Republicans disagree with that. 60% of Republicans.
60% of Republicans disagree with the statement that Congress, if the question is, do you agree that the Republican Congress is delivering on Trump's agenda that he won by? 60% are going to say no. I'm one of the 60% of the people that's going to say no. Congress is not delivering on Trump's landslide victory. They're just not. Do you know that Elon Musk is even upset with the big, beautiful bill? He said Congress shoved a bunch of extra spending in there, number one. And number two, Congress is refusing to codify Doge cuts into law. Let's finish the last less than a minute.
Now, it wasn't strong disagreement, but that's not where you would want your numbers, because every single component of Trump's platform is overwhelmingly popular. So, like, what are they doing? It's all just the same, trading pork over bargaining. That's what they're doing, I think. No Doge cuts. Everybody's taking their chance to slow this thing down to get their own special. This should have been everything Trump's doing. Like, they should be, in my opinion, this is it. I think a lot of people thought this was an existential election, right? And then if the Democrats get back in power, the question I have is the 60-vote filibuster rule on the table? And if the answer is yes, like, why is it not on the table now?
Spineless, weak, corrupt, and just ballless. Republicans are the reason our country is in the position it's in. Whenever the Democrats are in power, they indict our president, they indict his team, they arrest his supporters, and they just go full force pushing their woke ideology. When Republicans take power, Trump is doing everything he can to arrest the crooks, to seal the border, deport illegals, save us money, bring home the bacon, end the wars, while the Republicans in the Congress and in the Senate, they backstab him, they backstab the agenda. Mike Johnson spoke a big game. Mike Johnson spoke a big game of, we're going to deliver for Trump. and we're going to deliver in the House of Representatives for what people voted for. Since Trump has been in office, January, February, March, April, May, for 4 months now, can you please, in the comments, give me one example where Mike Johnson fulfilled something from Trump's agenda? I can't think of one thing that Mike Johnson did that's impressive, that's good, that's for the American people, or that's pushing forward the MAGA Trump agenda. And then they passed a big, beautiful bill. There's not enough votes in the Senate. When the Democrats in 2021 and 2022 held Congress, Senate, and the White House, all of their spending bills passed like that in a heartbeat. And they had 2 seats less than we have right now. Actually, 3 seats less than what we have right now. And everything that Joe Biden wanted, he got. Congress passed it in a heartbeat. Goes to the Senate, passed in a heartbeat. Why? Because they know they have the majority. Let's slam it through. But when it comes to the Republicans, too many backstabbers, too many rhinos. See, Trump has his own issues. He doesn't need to be running around on Capitol Hill talking to the no votes. Please vote for the big, beautiful bill. We got to pass the spending bill. He's got to put people in prison for the AUTOPEN scandal. He's got to deport illegal immigrants. He's got to secure the border. He's got to end wars. He's got to build up the economy and bring down inflation and gas prices. Plus, we are at a AI war. There is a full forced artificial intelligence war going on right now. And Trump wants to make sure that we win. Because whoever wins the AI race will dominate the world for the next 5 generations, at least. And I want American freedom, American Christian principles to dominate the world, not the CCP, not Europeans, not the Russians or Ukrainians or anyone else. And so while Trump is battling all of those fronts, the Republicans, the least they can do is be swift on passing Trump's agenda for the country. See, Trump has to deal with the whole world and all the federal problems. If you're a congressman, you only represent 750,000 people. And if you're a senator, you only represent one state. You're only working as a senator for one state. And if you're a congressman, you're only working for your district. That's it. So Trump is fighting for the entire country. And he's doing a much better job than all of you congressmen and women and senators combined. He's got way more problems on his plate, but he's doing a much better job. Ladies and gentlemen, especially if you have a Republican representative, watch them closely. How they vote. How are they when it comes to passing Trump's agenda? Because if they're not on the MAGA train, primary their ass. Get them out. They don't deserve your vote. Well, ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, I appreciate each and every single one of you. I hope you're having a fantastic day. And before I wrap this up, just to close it off one last time, today's sponsor was Verity Metals. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to work with a non-woke company that is not going to use your money to support abortions or LGBTQI plus ZVD 3 plus, Verity Metals, they're Christians, people of faith, people of family, people of country. They are located here, local out of Glendale, Arizona. They have customers in all 50 states. So call or text 480-717-9081. Tell them Vlad sent you. Get free silver. Links are down below in the description. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.